Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new news information breakdown. Right now, as a Pixar fan, it's an incredibly exciting time. We have a brand new film releasing next week with Elio, with, at the time of me writing this, the premiere of the film happening tonight. With a new release along with the Annecy International Animation Film Festival occurring, we've been getting a lot of news. When we see new films releasing from the studio, we typically see a lot more press interviews and thus information getting revealed, and today with the trades announcing a big one, which is going to be the main topic of the video, Peter Sohn directing Incredibles 3. I assume this was going to be announced later at Annecy and maybe it got out a little early, but it seems as though we're building out the team that'll work on this film. While last year at D23, Pete Docter announced Incredibles 3 was in the works, with Brad Bird developing it right now. I wasn't sure if it was directing, writing, producing, or all of the above, but based on his schedule with Ray Gun, it would have been well in the future if he were to direct. But I think that was what a lot of people assumed just with the franchise's history. We now know that he'll be writing the script as well as producing alongside Dana Murray, the producer on Soul. It's been stated that Bird has been a mentor to Sohn, which is why he, alongside Pete Docter, had entrusted him with the Incredibles franchise. And I think he's a great choice, as with The Good Dinosaur and especially with Elemental, Sohn was able to capture the family dynamic with his own touch. I'm writing this when the news is so fresh, so I couldn't tell you the reactions online, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was some opposition, because people don't want to see the change with this kind of thing really. But again, based on Bird's schedule, it was either a switch up in the director's chair, or the film was possibly never happening, and Incredibles 3 is one of my most desired sequels from the studio, so I'm happy for this. Based on the fact that we're getting this news here and now, I feel confident this will release in this decade, which I haven't been sure of until now really. I'm putting my money on 2028, but even 2027 is possible. I feel that one will be Enrico Casarosa's new project, though maybe we'll get some official announcement at Annecy later this week. Now I want to move on to another topic, a side topic for this video with Elio. I'm going to be talking about this movie a lot more when it releases, but since I'm already here doing a roundup on a lot of online discourse, I'll mention a headline for this film that doesn't seem to fizzle, being a supposed $300 million budget, which a quote-unquote insider revealed. The topic of blockbuster budgets has been very publicized and quite polarizing in the last few years, as we now root for movies to succeed and for some fail in a commercial way. But now there's a lot of clickbait out there, and it isn't typically coming from financiers, and this source, World of Real, has been called out for these behaviors in the past already. The typical budget at Pixar is $200 million. Even through years of inflation, they've been reported to be there or under since Toy Story 3. Though in recent years with Soul and Turning Red, for example, they've been under by 25 or 50 million. With the delay of this film and the rework they've done to the story, I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest if the budget went up. In fact, it most certainly did, but historical evidence tells us it probably wasn't even 200 million at first. So how does a rework add this much costs when costly measures such as designs and locations are all but untouched to my knowledge? Speaking of Peter Sohn, The Good Dinosaur went through a director's change and what seemed to be an even bigger story overhaul and an even longer delay, but it only had a $175 million budget attached to it. Now, not everything lines up between those two productions and when they all went into different phases of production, but you kind of get where I'm coming from here. Only one person has to say it, and the internet is running wild with this number, and it doesn't help that I see a lot of people against this movie already, and against the current direction of Pixar's films or their newer art styles, for instance. At this point, the film really just has to prove itself, see if it can get some good walk-up business come next week, and hopefully have a strong word of mouth, which I think is very much in the realm of possibilities. I just know exhibitors are a bit worried for its opening weekend just based on pre-sales. When Elio was slated for a March 2024 release, it had its first teaser trailer with Elemental, and following that same pattern, we should be seeing a Hoppers teaser in the next week. I think it'll be shown at Annecy and then released shortly after, and I'll be excited to talk about that. Maybe I'll even be here next week talking about it. There's some Toy Story 5 details we got, like Conan O'Brien as Smarty Pants and the new Piston Peak theme park announcements, which I'm also excited for, but I'm sure we'll have more time to discuss later on. So for now, I'm going to end this little discussion. Please let me know what you think about this kind of video and the topics I went over in the comments down below. I'd love to put out more videos like this in the future, since these are a little quicker to make than some of the other ones I'm working on right now. I don't ask this really, but if you enjoyed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and you can unsubscribe at any moment. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.